probably most of you would be wondering. Of course, I know UI design, user interface, is how to make things look beautiful. We're not graphic designers, like I said. And I said earlier that product design has two components, both UI design and UX design. And we just explained what UI design is. Now, what is UX design? The second component of product design. Now, the focuses of UX design is user flows and journey maps. This is an introduction too, so I'm not going to bore us much with a lot of explanation on this because we might be confused. So I'll try to dish out the information gently so we'll digest and we'll understand better. So, but UX design focuses on user flows and journey maps. UX stands for user experience. User experience. We said previously that UI is user interface, right? What users interface with. But UX is user experience. The experience a user has after using a product. And the focuses of UX is user flows and journey maps. These are some of the things you would be doing or try to solve as a UX designer. The next is information architecture. All of these are more of thinking and reasoning when it comes to product design. It is not just, all flashy colors and splashing text and typography and playing with all of these visual elements. There's the thinking part of product design. There's the reasoning part of product design. There's the psychology part of product design. Trying to have a map for the user. Trying to make sure you think ahead of the user first. Trying to understand the users of this product. I'm designing a mobile app for old people. How are they going to interact with this app? What sizes of text am I going to be using for this? So when you consider all of this, or when you start thinking of these things, you are thinking UI. So it's not just you are thinking UX rather. It's not just UI. So information architecture also is a focus. I'm not going to bore us with more information. Like I said, if we go further, we'll understand. But let's just have it in mind that these are some of the things we'll be covering. And these are like a focus of UX design. The next is wireframing and prototyping. These are just more of having a sketch before you do the main thing, before you do the main design. So you'll be doing wireframing, connecting screens together from the home page. If I have a home page for an app or the home page of an app. And so if a user wants to log out from that app, how do I connect these things? So you do a sketch and you do a rough wireframe for all of these guys. And then wireframing and prototyping. So prototyping is more of building a model for your design and see how users can interact with some of the buttons, the menu, the pop-ups, and the modals, and how all of these things will come alive when your product goes live. So usability and testing, these are also focuses on the UX design, solving user pain points. I'm going to give us resources for all of this that I would want us to go and watch. We'll go and read, explore, and then we'll come back and have a discussion. So what then is the difference between UI and UX design? Since we said they are not the same, they are both components of a product design. So UI, user interface, and then UX, user experience. What's the difference between the both of them? The first difference is UI is visuals, colors, buttons, fonts, layout, what you see. But UX is experience, flow, ease of use, the user experience. UI is looks and UX is feels. UI is interface element, what you interface with. But UX is structure and logic. So there are two sides of the same thing, two faces of the same coin. They are both one coin, which is the product design. But then UI could be the head, and then UX could be the detail, but they are both a part of one element. So UI, if you notice, UI is talking about visuals, it's talking about look, it's talking about beauty, it's talking about buttons, icons, fonts, colors, layout, what the user see. But then UX is dealing more of the logical aspect of it, the experience that the users will get, the feel that the user will get, the structure and the logic behind placement of those buttons that the user will experience. And then UI is branding and aesthetics, how beautiful the application will look, how beautiful the platform will look, the branding of the platform. But UX is dealing with the satisfaction and usability. Is this beyond this product being beautiful? Is it going to be usable? Beyond me having a button under a section, what's the need for that button? Is it usable? What's the need? What's the experience for the users finding and clicking that button? Is it easy to just see the button and read it and understand that, oh, if I click this button, this is the function? So UX is dealing with satisfaction and usability. Now, this image gives us a clearer difference between UI and UX. You could notice the penguin on this island now. The UI is what you see. So if you are standing from the shore looking at this penguin across or in the middle of this ocean or this water body, you would see the penguin and then the top part of that island or the rock. That's the only thing you'd see. And that is UI, right? Layout, visual design, and branding. But there's something beneath that is actually holding this portion that is up. And that is UX. It is the logic. It is the structure. Now, let me give an example or a better illustration with the human body. If you look at the human design, the way God designed us, the first thing you would see is the flesh. You see the human flesh. You see our hand, our eyes, our nose, our ears, our mouth, teeth. You see our hair. Now, these are the UIs of human. These are the visual element of human because it is what you see. It is what you interface with. But there is a structure inside every human that is making us stand. For instance, I'm seated here. There's a structure inside me that is giving me the ability to sit, and it is the bone. So the bone that is helping me, giving me this form and this structure, this rigidity to sit is the UX. I hope this gives a better illustration of UI and UX. So who is on the design team? Who exactly is on the design team? And we would run through that quickly. So the first person you would probably meet on a design team is a UI designer. Now you might be wondering, I know product designer. So what exactly is a UI design? Now, since we said UI design and UX design are both components that makes up a product design, right? So why are we having UI designer? Who exactly is a UI designer? We actually have people that are UI designers. And these guys, just like we explained, we try to define UI design, user interface, and all of the focuses. These individuals focus just on the UI design. UI designers have no business doing UX. They have no business thinking about the logic and some of the information architecture when designing a product. Their job or their role is to make sure the interface is beautiful and the typography is well placed, the color is well balanced, the layout is well structured. So those are UI designers. That's just their key focus. And then we also have UX designers. Of course, this one now is easy for us to understand. While we have people focusing only on UI design, they are called UI designers. We have other set of people that focuses only on UX design. Now, these guys are called UX designer. They do not really have business designing and making the interface look beautiful. Theirs is to deal with the logic and the rationale behind the design. Now, we now have people that are product designers. So it's very easy to do the math now. The combination of a product designer, the skill set of a product designer and a UX designer and other model we'll be looking at is what makes up a product designer. So as a product designer, you are not just a UI designer, but you are also a UX designer. We have UX researcher. Now, some of these roles and these terms might not be too familiar in our environment here, but this is what you see on a standard design team, because other environments, like in the global scale, they deal with division of labor. They don't just have one individual and then impute all of the role on that person and say, hey, Mr. Man, you be the UI designer, you be the UX designer, you be the product designer, you be the researcher. They try to break down these roles to maximize output. That's what people do outside there. But then in our environment here, not just our environment though, a part of outside too, you just have one person with a lot of these skills. You just have to have all of them. But that aside, we have individuals that are UX researcher. Their business is to research, is to go deep down into human psychology and understand how humans think. So it will help them come up with solutions and research problems to present to the team that, don't place your button to the top of your screen if you are designing for humans, because the way our palm is, our hand is not big enough, especially now that we have phones that have large screen size. Our hands might not really go up, except if we want to use our both hands to navigate the application. But for ease of navigation, the human palm is actually closer to the lower region. So we have regions for all of these, the thumb region. So this UX researcher, they are the ones that bring out the solutions to us, and then they will present it, and then the team will brainstorm. So we have UX researcher. We also have design system specialist. A design system specialist is someone that design rules and regulation. I was trying to explain this earlier. There are rules and regulation that govern or guide your design. We were talking about consistency in design elements. We gave an illustration with the button that we saw, that you need to maintain consistency if you are designing. You shouldn't have a button that has rounded corners in your first screen, and then when the users go to the next screen, they see another button with sharp corners. So what helps you maintain that consistency in product design is what we call design system. So you have a design system that governs how you design your input field. So everywhere you want to put an input field, you go and check your design system for guidance. You have a design system that governs how you design your buttons. So anytime you want to introduce a new button to another screen, you go and check your design system and get guidance from there. So there are people that their job is just to handle the design system. Now, let me further explain with this Apple product. If you see Apple products, you would notice the consistency in their visual element. The consistency is either you are using an iPhone or you are using the MacBook or any of Apple products. You will just notice this is an Apple product. Why? The typography is consistent. The fonts they use, how they place their elements in the screens is consistent. The colors they use, their branding, their color scheme is consistent, and so on and so forth. Now, the reason why they are able to hold on to this consistency is because they have a design system. You can even go online, it's open source. You go and see Apple design system, and you see what is governing all of these things that they do. So somebody that his work is just to make sure the design system is tidy and good is what we call a design system specialist. Now, last but not the least, we have interaction designer. Now, if you visited so many websites that has a lot of interaction, maybe I'll drop a link for us to see. You go on the home, the landing page and the hero section, you see a lot of interactions. You see things moving. So all of those interactions, you want to click a button and then you see it has an effect. It has an over effect or something else. All of those micro interactions and major interactions you see on digital products are being done by someone we call an interaction designer. But remember, I said earlier that you can specialize or become a full stack product designer, which is a product designer. That would be your title. Or this title evolves sometimes. As we go deep down, we'll understand. If you want to be a full stack, you need to learn all of this. You need to be a UI designer. You need to be a UX designer, a UX researcher, a design system specialist, and interaction designer. Like myself, I do all of this. So I wouldn't just consider myself to be a UI designer or consider myself to be a UX designer. But I do interaction design. I come up with design system for the project I work on. So, like we know, the goal is to, for the beginner level, try to get everything. It is when you go and you want to like specialize and have a focus and say, oh, I think I have more passion in discovering or making research on how users think and user psychology. Then you would say, oh, I want to just be a UX researcher. But as we are beginning, we really need to know all of this so that it will shape us. If we want to become full stack, it is fine and beautiful. Or as we progress, if we want to major on a specific role, we can have the flexibility to do so.